Very wonderful, insightful conference. So we would want to start the day with a word of prayer. So please allow me to invite Dr. Alice Kande for a word of prayer, then we proceed. Please, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All protocols observed. Good morning. Let us bow for a word of prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts as we gather for day 3 of this conference. We thank you for bringing us together to share knowledge, wisdom, and fellowship with one another. We ask for your guidance and presence to be with us, and may your Holy Spirit inspire us, guide our discussions, and lead us to new insights and understanding. Help us to approach each session with open hearts and minds. Bless the speakers and presenters as they share their expertise and insights with us. We commit this day into your hands, dear Lord, trusting in your wisdom and grace to guide us, and may all that we say and do bring glory and honor to your holy name. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the presence of the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Dr. Ezekiel Mashogu, accompanied by his Principal Secretary, Dr. Moria, and of course, all of you distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Now, yesterday in the afternoon, we had various working group sessions, and in each of those sessions, we were dealing with different topics, of which it would be good and fair that we just get a feel of what those conversations were, and then, of course, we proceed. In short, we will have a recap from the 5 groups. So 3 of them, we will have the moderators coming here on stage, and for working group 4 and 5 shall be done in the form of a panel discussion. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome the first presenter this morning, Dr. Timothy Njagi, the Development Economist, Tegemeo Institute of Agricultural Policy and Development, Egerton University, Nakuru, Kenya. He will do a recap on the green economy, future of work in food security and agribusiness. Kindly let's give him a hand clap as he proceeds.
Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Machogu, Principal Secretary, Dr. Moria, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to stand before you to represent the distinguished panel and the wonderful discussions that we had yesterday. Our panel, our keynote speaker was Dr. Yifru Tafese Bekele, who is the head of state capacity at AGRA. We also had Professor Irene Ejir, from the University of Ghana. We had Professor Elijah Ateka from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology in Kenya. And we also had Dr. Richard Dedema from Makerere University in Uganda. And we were really privileged also to have our Principal Secretary who sat with us through the entire panel. So our panel was looking at food security and agribusiness. And the first thing we did was for our keynote speaker to remind us that green economy is actually relevant for Africa. And especially if you think about the challenges that we are facing in terms of having abundance of green resources, that we are not really tapping into it, and the opportunities we have, especially for the youth, and making use or making efficient use of our natural resources. Importantly, he gave us some 5 key steps on how we can take advantage of this. And one of the things that he mentioned was that we need to recognize the importance of our natural wealth, especially in terms of how we can tap into it to create employment, improve livelihoods, and also pursue our goals on poverty alleviation. To be able to do this, we need to offer avenues, especially for industrial development and adoption of clean and efficient green energy, as well as resource-saving technologies. We need to harness the potential we have for Africa Green Energy, and we gave a lot of examples, for example, including how we have abundant resources like the solar energy, which we are not really making use of it. And more importantly, and this was a key theme in our discussions yesterday, is that we must have policies that will enhance the transformation, create incentives, and strengthen our institutional capacity to be able to drive the transformation towards the green economy. In our discussions from our panelists, we highlighted on several key important areas that we can do, and importantly, we were reminded that action must start with us. So if as practitioners, we are not leading as an example, then it will be very, very challenging to convince other people to make the leap, or to make the leap in terms of transition to green economy. Importantly, we must recognize the incentives that both providers and as well as our farmers have, especially when you think of agriculture. And what that means is that as we are talking about the transition, we have to understand the local economies that informs some of the things that we are doing, some of the practices, for example, that farmers are adopting. So we found that some of the key challenges, and this is just a very short list, highlight summary of what we discussed, is that we find that we have challenges in financing of green practices. This is both from financial institutions, and also from the farmer level, in terms of the current technologies that are available are quite expensive, and there is no financial products that is there to aid farmers in that transition. We need better incentives to adopt green practices, and example was that if today a farmer adopts green practices, you are forced to go further, including labeling, for you to be able to capture the margins. And I think, again, that in relation to the understanding the local economies, you will find that for most farmers, they become indifferent because whatever gain that we want them to adapt, we are putting constraints in terms of adoption of that. We do also have limited research into green technology and practices, and more importantly, we find that there is limited availability and access to bio inputs that our farmers have. And then the key thing also was that when it comes to knowledge and access of knowledge products, we do have a challenge. And when we think about training and how farmers access information, and also the capacity they have to utilize this information, this is also limited. And also our policies are not very enabling, especially in terms of adoption. So what we recommended is that first, we need to ensure that our research is both responsive and relevant to the green economy. How we can do this, one, is that we need to build on partnerships, and this is a good example. This forum has brought a lot of minds from the world, and we need to ensure that we tap into these partnerships to create collaborative research and come up with technologies that are relevant to different ecologies and specific agricultural value chains. We need to ensure that we emphasize on learning, and this has to be continuous. We need to adapt to the dynamism in science and technology, which is moving quite fast. And more importantly, we need to make sure that we create linkages, especially for learning, so that the knowledge that is being generated through research is able to reach the end users. And for us to do this, we need to focus a lot on training and capacity building. Training is not just for the end users, but also for the service providers. And we had a lot of examples on extension workers and some of the challenges that they are facing. And we really got a very good example that I would like to share with you from our PS. For example, like in Kenya, one of the examples is that Kenya has managed to send some youth to work in the UK and learn. And the objective is that this youth will, from the training that they have received here through the TVET training, and for the experience that they will get in the UK from working in those farms, they should be able to come back to Kenya and work with our farmers, not just to help them access the technology, but also to build the capacity of farmers to be able to utilize those technologies. And we still need to expand our policies to make sure that we are able to bring those technologies to Kenya. Our research institutions need to make sure that those technologies are adaptable for us to be able to maximize the use of those technologies. And we really emphasize the issue on policies and the role that policies play in expanding the space and creating incentives for people to be able to take up the technologies, to be able to deliver the technology to farmers, and for farmers to enjoy the return of adopting those technologies. And the key of our discussion is the recognition that if farmers today don't enjoy the returns or they don't see the benefits, most of which we can quantify as economists, we can easily quantify that into monetary gain. So what benefit or what added value will a farmer get from adoption of some of these green technologies? Then we will not see the push, or we will not create the pull to get farmers to adopt green economy. And importantly, and this again is related to policies, and again in line with the Sustainable Development Goal, we must ensure that nobody is left behind. So we must ensure that our policies are inclusive, especially to the marginalized communities. And here, of course, in the case of Africa and agriculture, we are talking a lot about women and youth and how we can get them more involved within the sector, and how we can create opportunities for them to thrive and continue to enjoy the benefits in the transition. So with that, this is my humble submission, and I really want to thank our panelists and the people who participated in our group. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Timothy Njagi, for keeping time. Next will be Dr. Mustafa Bello, Senior Lecturer at Bayero University, Nigeria. He will do a recap on the green economy, future of work in climate change. Please welcome.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister and the PS, the Minister, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm going to give a summary of the discussion we had under the Working Group 2, that's the climate thematic area. I served as the rapporteur in the session. The moderator of the session is Professor Haji Bamba, who's the managing director of TVET Burkina Faso. Then we have three panelists, Dr. Tesfaye Lema from the Haramaya University, Ethiopia, Professor Kone Dauda from the WASCAL, and then Dr. Murtala Muhammad Badamasi from Bayero University, Kano. These three served as the panelists. So we had the keynote speaker, Dr. Gabriel Galema, who is the Associate Director, World Vegetable Center, who served as the keynote speaker, presenting a paper on green economy future of work under thematic area of climate change. So we had the keynote speech, and then followed by discussion by the panelists that we had. So the main areas, the main points that we discussed include opportunities offered by the GE. What are the key strategies to accelerate greening the economy, and how does the future look, the GE work? And then what are the challenges that are faced in the transition to GE? And then what are the research needs as we move towards GE? And then what are some of the countries that are involved, and institutions, what are they doing currently to respond to the transition to GE? And then we also look at African culture and then acceptability to GE. So based on the discussion, the keynote speech presented and the discussion by the panelists, we came up with some key recommendations and the steps that we think should be taken to accelerate the transition to GE. The first one is the need to reassess and then realign the curricula that we have towards GE, and then conducting relevant and impactful research that will translate into products for the GE. And then we need to forge strategic partnerships between TVETs, private sector and industry players to convert research and innovation into commercial products. And then we need to form strong networks of Africa research and knowledge institutions for joint research and innovation, knowledge sharing, and then for training next generation of scientists and professionals for green economy. And then we need to increase investment in research and innovation in the context of climate change for the GE transition. And then there is need for us to leverage AI-based platforms as well as decision support system for green economy. And there is also the need for reorienting and then capacitating TVETs to meet the new set of skills demanded as we move toward the green economy. And there is, of course, the need for paradigm shift and changes in policy framework and regulation and investment priority to respond to the transition to GE. And then we need to also promote the scaling up, acceptability of innovative climate-smart technologies for sustainable agricultural development. And also we need to train and skill development, upscaling and rescaling of our workforce as we move towards GE. And within the African context, there is need for effective communication to convey clear messages to the relevant stakeholders, effective regulation and policy for creating enabling environments for GE. And also, as we move to GE, there are a set of challenges that are coming up, so we need to be ready and then do research towards addressing these challenges in the transition to GE. These are the major recommendations and the key next step that we are providing under our Working Group 2 session we had yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The last presenter before we go into the panel discussion, that is for Working Group 4 and 5, will be Professor Julius Mwabora, Senior Lecturer, University of Nairobi, and he will recap on the future of work in the energy space. Please welcome.
To the Minister for Education, Kenya, Dr. Machogu, the Minister from Rwanda and Uganda, and the Permanent Secretary, good morning. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So I was the moderator for the Working Group 3, that is energy, including renewables. Now we had a keynote speaker who was Dr. Njenga. Engineer Peter Waweru Njenga, the CEO and Managing Director, Kengen. And then we had 3 panelists, Professor Igor from the International Water Institute, Burkina Faso. And then we had Professor Francis Nyongesa, who is the Chairman, Department of Physics, University of Nairobi. And we had Professor Sunday from the University of Port Harcourt. And then the rapporteur was Christine from ISIPE. So I'll just give a summary of what transpired in the group. First of all, we had a keynote speaker, and then the panelists responded to the keynote speaker's speech, and then they also gave their own ideas on this topic. First of all, we discussed why energy is crucial, because if you look at the developed countries, when you look at the energy, then they have adequate energy. So we say that energy catalyzes industrial and economic growth. And then now we zeroed into the renewable energy. We said that green energy helps in cutting down on emissions. So that means that action or inaction on our part will affect our planet either positively or negatively. And then there was an example about Kenya. In Kenya, renewable energy accounts for around 50% in the energy mix, led by geothermal energy, and then wind, and then solar energy. So we said that I think for the other African countries, I think it's not very difficult, for us to go energy, because you see Kenya is also doing it. So the other countries can also try to up their energy mix so that you can have renewable energy. And then we say that there is a need for nexus between the academia and industry in order to create jobs in green energy, where the academia, they do research, while the industry helps us to, commercialize, the research results. And then we also need to look at the innovation, inclusivity, and also sustainability. You find that in most of our African countries setting, the rural population do not have access, to the grid, grid connected. So as we also think of renewable energy, we also have to think of our rural population in terms of renewable energy for sustainability. And then we also said that integration of renewable energy into our country's development policies, I think, is very, very important, for us to succeed. And then the renewable energy require heavy investments, and our governments might not be able to fund all this. So that means that there is need for public and private sector infrastructure investments. They are needed in the renewable energy. And then we also require training and skills development in renewable energy. So this one goes all the way, from the universities to TVETs. And then for the renewable energy technologies to succeed, we require incentive policies from our governments, like giving tax rebates in renewable energy technologies and so on. And then we also say that I think there is also need for advocacy on the importance of green energy, and this is both to the government and also to the citizens of our African countries, so that people are aware of the green energy, so that they can see it as also an option. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the presenters. You've really kept time and all that. So I'll take the advantage to make certain announcements. Number one is that for those going to the Nairobi National Park, the Land Cruisers are ready, And you will be guided how to proceed from here when that time comes by our ushers, which will be the Gate A or Gate 1 parking. Number 2 is that for those who have registered, kindly go to the Kenya School of TVET stand for you to check on your name. I'll repeat that. For those interested and you have registered, I would request you during tea break, you go check at the Kenya School of TVET stand, and you'll be able to see how that will go. Preference, and this is very important, preference will be given to our brothers and sisters who are our guests here in the capital city, this great city of Nairobi. Preference will be given to our visitors, the international visitors, and all that. For the rest of you and me, we can always find time to go and visit the Nairobi National Park. I think that is very clear. Yeah? So therefore, I now want to invite the following. Now, this particular session will be only for vice chancellors and all that, so therefore we should be able to grasp certain terms which they're going to use, and this will be on higher education, research contribution in Africa's economy, future of work. For this session, the moderator will be Dr. Rachida Mamade. Are you around? Yes, please. You may come on stage. She is the Director, Ministry of Science, Technology and Higher Education from Mozambique. She will lead us through these sessions, and because I'm a gentleman, I will assist you to invite the panelists. Mr. Ernest Chitechi, CEO, Corporate Service Manager, Kenya Climate Innovation Center, Kenya. Are you around? Yes, karibu sana. Wapigieni makofi wakifika hapa. Number 2 will be Professor Isel da Silva, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation, Strathmore University, Kenya. Where is Prof? Professor da Silva. Yeah? Okay. Professor da Silva will be online. He's the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation, Strathmore University, Kenya. Professor Kaihura Muganga Didas, Vice Chancellor, University of Rwanda. Please welcome on stage. Last but not least, Professor Azikiwe Peter Onwaulu, VC AUST, Nigeria. We have at least 45 minutes to tea break. So, Madame Mamade, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I recognize here the presence of the Ministers of Science of Higher Education. Let me say bon dia to everyone. Good morning, distinguished guests. I extend warm welcome to you all in this 9th session of the PASET 6 Forum. Our session is entitled Higher Education and Research Contribution for Africa Green Economy and Future of Work. As we gather here today, it's essential to recognize the pivotal role of higher education and research in driving Africa's sustainable development agenda. Today, this session is particularly timely as we delve into how higher education and research institutions, green economy, and shaping the future of work on our continent. We will explore in this session a strategic opportunity for academic institutions to actively support the development of skills, workforce, tailored to meet the demand of sustainability. We will showcase noteworthy research interview and also innovative initiatives that are instrumental to fostering the creation of green jobs across various sectors. Additionally, we will formulate insightful recommendations aimed to shape policy making conducive to the seamless integration of green set into educational curriculum. Together, let us engage in dynamic discussion, share our insights so that this session will be fruitful. Before we immerse in ourselves in our discussion, we will have the privilege of hearing for these 4 distinguished panelists who are distinguished leaders in higher education and research and who are contributing in building skills for green economy and future of work. As mentioned, the moderator, one of them is going to join us online. And without further ado, I invite the first panelist, who is Mr. Ernest Shiteche. Mr. Ernest Shiteche is a corporate service manager, and he worked as a supporter in clean tech innovators, which commercialization through defining and executing strategies across core business function, including outreach and partnership development, knowledge management and learning, research and policy advocacy. He holds a MBA from University of Nairobi. Please take the floor.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, all protocol observed. As you've heard, my name is Ernest Chitechi, and I work with Kenya Climate Innovation Center. And I'm just going to give you a very brief presentation about how higher education and research contribute to Africa's green economy, future of work. So as we begin, we all know about, I just wanted to tell you something about Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Our biggest role is actually to identify innovative ideas from private sector, mainly small and medium enterprises, and then mold them into businesses. So that is through incubation, where we are able to formalize them into formal businesses. Then we are able to accelerate the same enterprises into commercialization through our acceleration program. So we were the first climate innovation center to be formed by the World Bank, and we've been in operation for the last 12 years, and we've worked across many sectors. So currently we focus on 5 sectors, which is renewable energy, agriculture, water management, waste management, and commercial forestry. All those sectors are geared towards helping Kenya achieve its green agenda, and looking forward to creating over 72,000 jobs by 2030. So today we are talking about green economy, and our role as Kenya Climate Innovation Center is actually to foster green economy and innovation. And how do we do that? We all know that as a world, we have very limited resources, and all those resources need to provide the sustainability of all human beings, and we rely on these natural resources for our well-being. But we also know if we continue with the business as usual, we reach a point where these resources will not be enough. And therefore, this will call for innovations, and through entrepreneurship, working with research organizations, universities, to create new innovations that then will help us to contribute now more to jobs creation, economic growth, and ensure that we are able to sustainably use these resources for the future of this generation. So as an organization, that is what we are looking for. How do we ensure that, yes, as a country, as a continent, we are able to foster green economy, continue focusing to see that we don't go past the tipping point, and then ensure there's adequate innovations that will then ensure economic growth that is sustainable. So if we're talking about economic growth which is green, then who are some of the key players that we need to involve? And as an organization, we work with a number of them. So for most of you who are seated here, you're actually the producers of this innovation. The universities, the research organization that are tirelessly working to churn out a number of innovations that then will help us achieve our future green growth. But we also have now the consumers of these innovations. And these are the startups like the ones we work with at Kenya Climate Innovation Center, and also the larger industry. Because as we look at the small ones who are creating more jobs, there is also the bigger industries that we need to take care of and ensure that they're also following the green growth agenda. Then there are those support organizations that then are able to nurture these innovations. So we are looking at the various hubs, the incubators like ourselves, that then are looking at helping the SMEs, the industry, research organization, and universities to nurture and grow these innovations so that they are able to solve some of our real-world challenges. Then we're also looking at in terms of what are some of the structures, because innovation, green growth will not work in vacuum. So we are looking at some organizations, for example, in Kenya we have the NACOSTI, we have the Kenyas who are helping us in terms of just catalyzing the ecosystem to ensure that we have good standards, the products that are coming out meet regulatory standards. Then we also have those policy support, because everything must be anchored about policy. We just don't need to do things without proper policies. Then we're also looking now in terms of financing. All this said and done, we may need resources that will help us actually achieve all those particular goals. So those are the players that we need to look at when we are talking about future of work and then green innovation. Then the question is then what does it take to drive green employment? I'll just share a few examples from the Kenya Climate Innovation Center. We've been working on a program called Transit that has been working to create collaboration between industry, research organization, government, and research organization. And there are a number of lessons that we have actually learned through this particular program that we look forward to sharing with you, so that as we talk about the future green economy and future of work, we see what is this green jobs. So within this particular program, one of the things that we've learned is that for better collaborations between university, research organization, and industry, we are able to develop skills. So within this particular program, what we did was to identify green innovations on one side, and then go to universities and tell them, we have this green innovation, they have this particular challenge in their businesses. How do we work together to resolve those challenges? So we were able to identify a number of university students who then were able to match with the enterprises, and then we use that to see how the students, one can learn on one end, and also the entrepreneur can solve their challenge. So if we are talking then about just using that particular example, we need to develop skills where now we have students working with industry to gain some practical experience, and this then will help them as they move out to understand that there's a sector called green economy. What skills do I need if I need to work in that sector as an employee, or what skills do I need if I need to start up my own business and create other employments for other young people. Also, this industry exposure then also helps the students now to explore any emerging industries, because we are talking about green growth here. And I'm sure if I ask you what is green growth, most people may not be able to tell you. So we need at a younger age try and expose young people to this emerging industry, so that then they're able to focus, understand what technologies are needed, what skills are needed, so that by the time they're moving out of these universities, they are able to have those particular skills. We're also looking in terms of now practical application of their knowledge. How do we apply that knowledge in real life situations? So this enforces learning and also understanding the economy of green growth. And looking on the industry side, you realize that by them also working with the young people, they're able to now harness the engineers of these young people. They're able to come up with new innovation, solve new problems, grow their business, and then be able to grow their businesses and create more jobs towards sustainable goals. Then also for the universities, through this particular interaction, we are able then to know what are the skills that the industry require. So you don't want to just train students without having an understanding once they leave the university and they are moving out to the jobs, what skills are required. Because we've had this argument that yes, you are training young people. For example, in Kenya, almost 1 million young people are coming out of institutions of higher learning, but they don't have the requisite skills to be employed in various organizations. So this interaction will also help them with that. Then also looking in terms of government support. How do we then now work with government to ensure that this collaboration is there, there's an enabling environment, there are adequate standards that will ensure that there's green growth and also there's employment for young people. So in terms of ourselves, if we're just talking about green growth, it's not just a mirage. As an organization, we've been able to work with over 3,500 green enterprises. And through that, we've been able to create around 54,000 jobs. So when we are talking about actually creating future jobs, it's a reality. And I just wanted to share that because you see, most people will tell you, show me where the green jobs that you are talking about. The 54 that I'm showing you today are actually green jobs that have been created through the Kenya Climate Innovation Center, through the enterprises that we've supported. And just to mention that about 56% of those jobs are for women. So, and you can see why we are doing that, because you'll find women have unique challenges, which also we need to give them more incentive. Then out of the 3,500 enterprises that we've supported, most of them have been actually able to sell products worth about $36 million. So we can see the potential of a green economy just by looking at those particular numbers. Then in terms of resources that they've been able to go out and look for to plow back into their business, we are looking at about 64 million. So, and this is just from about 380 small enterprises that have gone out and realized external funding that has gone into their business to enable them create products, create those employment. So green economy is actually a reality. And one of us as KCIC, we are living that reality, and that's why we are champions for green growth. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping the time. I'm now calling for Professor Israel da Silva. He will going to join us through Zoom. Hope our colleague from technical team will assist us displaying his presentation. Professor Israel da Silva is a renewable energy specialist with over 20 years of experience in research and academic leadership. He holds PhD and Master in Science in Electrical Engineering with specialization in power system from University of São Paulo. His CV is rich. I will just summarize like that. I can see that he is now on. Professor da Silva, está pronto?
Muito obrigado, senhora. Falamos português ou inglês?
Em inglês preferencialmente, porque tem tradução, se estiver confortável. Sorry, I was just saying that he can speak in English, so that, because we have translation, but I don't know if we have Portuguese translation. Anyone can tell me that we have? No, we don't have. So please, Professor Da Silva, make your presentation in English. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Tem 10 minutos para a apresentação.
First of all, I would like to observe all the protocols because I know Minister of Education is here, his principal secretary is also here, and there are quite a number of authorities from this country and also from our colleagues from other countries in Africa who are here. And I must start by saying that your presence means a lot. Someone was telling me that there are more than 300 people attending this event, physically some, and online quite a number. So let me begin by saying that it was a pleasure for me to be given this platform and to share with you a bit of my experience with Africa. I have been in Africa for 26 years. I started 13 years in Makerere University in Uganda, and I then followed 13 years in Strathmore University, which is a university, private university in Kenya. So I've been here as the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research and Innovation for 13 years. One of the things that the Vice Chancellor challenged me when I joined the institution in 2010 was that we didn't have a school of engineering, and we were interested in starting electrical engineering. I had come from Makerere, where the college had electrical engineering, and we were also geared towards a green engineering. So he said, please do that for us. And I'm glad to report to you that today we have the Bachelor of Science, Electrical and Electronic Engineering in Strathmore University on its third year. There are, in 2 years' time, we'll have graduate people from electrical engineering from Strathmore University. And then what we have done is already 3 years that since we started that journey is to mainstream the 3 P's in this engineering degree. The first P, we encourage the engineers to look for a profit, which means sustainability, financial sustainability. Then the second P, we tell them that they have to mainstream P for people. The person that each one of us is, we are me limited. So in this university, we give them 9 subjects, which are all to build them as an individual, as a human being, a good human being. So humanities, like anthropology, introduction to philosophy, principles of ethics, ethics, and also critical thinking. So these are things like we are preparing them for parliament. They are very good in technical thinking, yes, but they are also leaders. The second P. And finally, the third P is the P we are dealing with today in this marvelous gathering here, organized with the support of the World Bank and the CP and RSIF. So what we have done is we have invited the people to join us in this race. For instance, you should know that for 4.5 years, the Strathmore University helped the Kenya Climate Innovation Center. They think that you have just heard from Ernest Chitete. This was a project supported by the World Bank, InfoDev, Danida, and the UK PAC, and we set up the first Kenya Climate Innovation Center in the world, which is here we welcome them in the campus of Strathmore University, and the synergy that Ernest mentioned to you, to put students together with business people and small and medium enterprise is a wonderful thing, because then we train our students to do things, not to talk about them. So one thing that has been of very good use for us is to look for support from UNESCO. UNESCO is this union institution from the UN that deals with education and peace. So I was appointed UNESCO chair for climate change, resilience and sustainability in 2021, and this has helped us a lot to get projects and to get funds. When you are a UNESCO chair, if you team up with another UNESCO chair, say for example, Professor Emanuela Colombo in Politecnico di Milano in Italy, the moment we shake hands and we say, yes, we are together in this project, that project becomes a UNESCO project. And that University of Politecnico di Milano and Strathmore, they become the twin universities. They are together. And then we have been quite successful in fundraising because of that. And we get money from Horizon, we get money from Erasmus Plus for mobility, and then we are able to expose many people, not only the lecturers, but students, master students, to send them to Europe, paid by the wonderful taxpayers in Europe. So this is the way we do things. So the UNESCO chair, then what happens is that when you do things that are useful, so people keep going to your LinkedIn website, portfolio, they see who you are, they get in touch, they say, look, could we do some work together? I can tell you, my dear friends, that because you are in Africa, because you are in Kenya, you are in Ethiopia, you are in South Africa, you are in Uganda, you have an asset that the people in Europe do not have. So we would like to encourage, in this case, for instance, that we are going for in the green economy, circular green bioeconomy. We need capacity building. We need people to come here to finance capacity building, and then we are able to sort out the problems, not only of Africa, but also globally. So we create the CERC, Strathmore Energy Research Center. It's an interesting center. We are dealing with 5 topics for research: green hydrogen, electric mobility, clean cooking, healthcare management, and e-mobility. We want our cars to be run on solar and wind and geothermal, not on fossil fuel. Because as we are now in Kenya, we are spending around $4 billion per year buying petrol only for transport, not for producing electricity, but only for transport. So those are things that we say, okay, this is important to tell our undergrad students, because they are the ones who are going to face this challenge in 3 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time. So then another thing that is interesting for all of us to know is that IBM has created a platform to train Africans. They say they want to train 30 million Africans between now and 2040. So they have a platform where everything is free. Close to 1,000 subjects where they can learn things like Internet of Things, cyber security, etc. And it's for free. You register for free, attend class for free, do the assignments and exams for free, get your badge and certificate for free. This is fantastic. We are using it. There are more than 500 students from Strathmore doing this training for free and becoming experts in business that are going to come for them in 2-3 years' time. So we also got from, let me say in 3 more minutes I finish. We also got a partnership with the RES for Africa, Renewable Energy Solution for Africa, and for Enel, that is Electricity Nazionale from Italy, and they have given us a laboratory called Microgrid Academy, If you want to achieve the SDG number 7, that is universal access to electricity, you have to have not only grid extension, but also you have to have mini grids. So this tool we got is called Microgrid Academy. We help people to model and optimize decentralized systems, microgrids, for developing the upcountry, the rural areas where people needed to add value to their business. So I'm very glad to participate with you in things together. I was in Makerere. I love Uganda. I'm a Ugandan. Museveni gave me a passport. So I would love to work with you in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, or South Africa. We already have a partnership with KCIC. So it is an interesting thing for me to be here and to be able to tell you, let's be optimistic. Let's do action, as I was happy when Chitechi was saying, these are the number of business, these are the number of millions that they made, because this is what matters. We should talk less, do more. I say we don't like the NATO. NATO is no action, talk only. No, we have to act. Yeah, we professors, because it is possible. We have to convert our ideas into progress for the people outside the borders of the university, the walls of university. We have to impact society with our knowledge, and this, I think, is what we are doing now here with the green economy. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Professor Israel, for sharing with us the experience of Strathmore University. And following the sequence, I will now invite Professor Kaihura Muganga Didas. He's an acting Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana. He is experienced practitioner of law, an associate professor of business law and manager with demonstrated history of working in research industry and academia. Please take the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, moderator, and thanks to those who spoke before me. And I do recognize all protocols as we are observed. And I think I want to wholly subscribe to what the first presenter said. And just add that as universities, there's the University of Rwanda, but I would think every other university in Africa or even beyond, we are all looking at this time. We are lucky, as Professor just said, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, that in Africa we are now talking about this green economy and the future of work now, when elsewhere, especially in the developed world, they are trying to kind of reverse what has been already lost. In Africa, we are still having that privilege that, yes, most of what we have is still green. And so relating it to the concept of green economy and the future of work wouldn't be actually that so hard if it was to have, in Africa, African universities, researchers would be having enough resources. Relating now every other, if I would take, for example, when we are preparing curriculum, we always bring that in to assess whether our curriculum are going to be responding to or standing in for the green economy. But also looking at different efforts, the centers of excellence we are establishing all around. We have so many at the University of Rwanda, but I will give just a few examples. At our university, we have, for example, the Center of Excellence in Renewable and Sustainable Energy, which I got impressed to learn from the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Silva, when he was presenting the projects they are having at Strathmore University. Almost the same, because this is the preoccupation of most of universities that are having to do, engineering programs, engineering centers of excellence working around energy. This is the preoccupation today, and we are looking at how, like in Rwanda, the policy is that we are going to be progressively reducing cars that are using fuel, this ordinary fuel that we've been using to those that are using the electric cars. And how are we going to sustain this? And we are being preoccupied by the fact that we may be solving the fuel issue, but creating another problem when we are over-consuming on energy, especially when it is this ordinary energy that is not renewable. Now, the efforts are being put in finding solutions on sustainable energy than just rushing in for quitting away from the oils. We have the Center of Excellence in Biodiversity, which is also working closely with this center and many other centers on finding solutions, aligning itself with green economy and the future of work. The Center of Excellence in Internet of Things, yesterday we were discussing much about it. It is also working closely with this interdisciplinary approach to always work around those different projects that would respond to, that would align with the green economy and the future of work. We have the other centers, for example, the GIS Center and Remote Sensing, GIS and Remote Sensing Center, that is always collaborating, the same with the Center of Excellence in Data Science. They're all working closely on different projects to see to it that they all, this is a primary mandate we've given to ourselves, that whether in ordinary programs, curriculum, whether in our research endeavors, and this can be read even the research agenda of the University of Rwanda that we adopted last year, the 5 years research agenda. It is all aligned to this, and our efforts are to always start with the local issues, the problems we are facing locally, but also, as we know, rare will you find that these local challenges are quite particular to Rwanda, but you can find that the same challenges we are having 2 years back, we were having some landslides and floodings in Rwanda. I saw in the news what is happening here, the unfortunate happenings in here. Nairobi might be happening elsewhere. Some years ago, we are seeing what was happening in Mozambique. And if we are addressing it in Rwanda, in the Rwandan context, it might be also used, the findings of our research might also be used elsewhere in Africa or even beyond. But this is all about how to find solutions to all aligning ourselves to green economy and the future of work. I may go on and on, giving examples of what we are busy doing, but I must say that, and I said it in another forum this morning, that all we have to do, yes, there are these concepts that come topical as they are, and they become like, yes, we want to do it, especially when we are getting this funding from elsewhere. But also, I must emphasize that in Rwanda, we always want to contextualize what we are doing. If it is, yes, green economy is a concept that is defined, but just like any other concepts that come to us, we need always to approach it or tend to it in a contextualized manner to address our local problems in our local context, not forgetting that we are not an island. And even if we are to be an island, in this context I mean we are not cut off from the rest of the world, but first get the concept, contextualize it, see how best it can respond to our local context, our local issues, our local problems, and then see how we can contribute by responding to the issues elsewhere around the world. I submit. Thank you.
leaders. Last but not least, I invite Professor Azikiwe Onwalu. He holds a PhD in agriculture engineer. He was from Technical University of Nova Scotia in Canada, and he joined the service of University of Nigeria in 1999. His biography is quite long, but it's good to emphasize that he's the chairman from Committee of Director of Research Institutes of Nigeria, and also a director, academic planning center leader for Pan-African Material Institute and African Center of Excellence in Materials focal point also for the PASET. And let me give him a chance to also say something around our topic. Hopefully we will have at least 2-3 minutes to have at least one question from the audience. It's always good to have this interaction. So take your floor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. All protocols observed. This is a very interesting topic, looking at green economy and future of work. I think as universities, we have to be dynamic and continue to change. For us, at African University of Science and Technology, the university started as a research-oriented university, offering only PhD and masters, and looking at Africa as its constituency is actually one of the network of universities established by the Nelson Mandela Institution. But of course, over the years, things have evolved, and looking at what we are discussing today, from the presentations we had yesterday from Professor Wole, we know that the concept of green economy and future of work has thrown up a number of issues, starting with the opportunities that it has thrown up for us to do better in what we are supposed to be doing. But it has also thrown up challenges for universities. Basically, we realize that we need to infuse skills into our programs, and actually some of these things are just happening at a time that the university, our own university, we've gone through strategic planning, and that strategic plan has come up with ideas of how we can remodel what we are doing. That also coincided with one of the reforms going on in Nigeria now. The regulator of the university system in Nigeria has come up with what is called CCMAS, which is the revised curriculum for academic programs. And what it is that 70% of your curriculum will be national, and then each university is now allowed to have 30% of the curriculum localized. And this throws an opportunity for what we are discussing today. What that means is that even though you run general curriculum, you can also focus on a particular area so that your university will be known for something which dovetails into what my colleague talked about, centers of excellence. So as a university, we have, through our strategic plan process, come up with a number of things which I believe dovetails into what we are discussing today. One of the things we have done, I'll just mention 3 of them, is the curriculum change. Things are happening, things are changing, so you need to continuously look at your curriculum to adjust it to fit and suit into what is going on. For example, what we have done now, and I think Professor Wole mentioned this yesterday, incidentally he was our president at some point, the issue of project-based learning. We've tweaked our curriculum in such a way that every lecturer, every professor, everybody that teaches must teach from the mindset of project-based learning. In other words, it's no more a situation where you just give lectures and students give it back to you, but you start the lectures with projects that are relevant to industry, projects that are going to be useful to the students, looking at different thematic areas. And this has been infused into our curriculum in such a way that these students actually get to do hands-on projects, and this has helped a lot. We've also seen that with green economy, there is the issue of skills. It's interesting to note that we are now beginning to think backwards or reverse ourselves. In the Nigerian system, for example, we know that the universities have grown to a point where every parent wants the child to become a graduate. And then we've come to a situation where the number of universities have gone up. Today we have 200 and something universities in the country. And every child wants to, or every parent wants to have a degree. At the end of the day, we are churning out these degree holders who are really very good in terms of the academic content of what they've gone through, but with little or no skills. And so it was interesting that this conference is also focused on skills. And initially, you will find that people make the mistake of thinking that skills is only for those in polytechnics and so on. But even the regulator of the university system in Nigeria is now talking about having skills in the university system so that students can actually learn what they came to learn, but at the same time, leave the university with skills. In order to address this as a university, we have established a university-based innovation hub. Thanks to PASET, we got some support from PASET, some support from World Bank, support from Africa Development Bank. What that means is that both faculty and students are now involved in startups, in skill-up programs, so that no matter the course you are studying, you pick a soft skill that you can specialize while learning other skills. We believe that this is really changing the landscape in our university, because what it now means is that students are now forming teams of startups. So while they are going through their academic programs, and we've practicalized this, while they are going through their academic programs, they are also going through skill-up programs. In fact, we've declared a particular day in the week, I think Wednesdays, for 2-3 hours, you must be at the Innovation Hub, whether you are there physically or virtually, learning one thing or the other, and then forming your partnerships and trying to run businesses. So this is one area that I believe that it will help, and this has also enabled us to now have more contact with industry. As part of this Innovation Hub, we've created what we call Industry Advisory Board. Industry Advisory Board means we invite some captains of industry to be part of this board, and they regularly, in fact, most cases, once a quarter, meet with professors and heads of departments. That way they make input into the curriculum, and at the same time you have access to them in such a way that some of the problems we are now solving as PhD students or master students projects are now suggested by members of this Industrial Advisory Board. As I conclude, I will also emphasize the last thing that we are promoting in the university, which my colleague here talked about, promoting centers of excellence. In fact, it's now a national program in Nigeria, starting with the Africa Centers of the Excellence Project, the Tertiary Education Fund of Nigeria, which is now the major funding agency in Nigeria, is also promoting different centers of excellence in different thematic areas. And so we're also towing the same line. Today we have quite a number of such specialized centers dealing with different thematic areas, dealing with problems. And you find that the interesting thing about these centers of excellence is that they rub off on the entire university, so that whatever facilities and equipment or knowledge that is coming out from those centers of excellence now rubs off on all the other traditional departments. The other thing that has helped our university is harvesting the knowledge of Africans in the diaspora. I think this started even from the concept of the university, because at inception, over 80% of our professors actually come from outside. They were actually coming physically to teach until COVID struck and changed the dynamics of teaching. Now most of our PhD and master's programs are now taught by majority of the professors come from outside Nigeria, and they teach online. Now we have facilities for online teaching and so on. Initially, the regulator in Nigeria was not too comfortable with online teaching, but now even that has been approved, that you can do online, you can do distant learning, and that way there is, you can have education without borders, and then you can tap into the resources in terms of the number of professors we have from all of our countries that are in diaspora. Of course, the main challenge with implementing that is the funding. Somebody has to pick up the funding, especially the fact that you have to pay in foreign exchange and all that. But I believe that with good financial models, you'll be able to implement some of these things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Let me now open the floor for at least one question from the audience. Yes, there's one. I think will be the only question, because we are now running out of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and thank you very much, our speakers. Thank you very much. My name is Joshua Adem, a delegate from Kenya. Our speakers have spoken very well.
Which institution, please?
This is the Post-Peace Kenya. Our speakers have spoken very well on green economy. But my concern is how to motivate the younger generation who are in the higher school. Because when we look at the space in the green economy, a lot of opportunities are there. But we find that the mindset of the generation to come are still in the white-collar jobs. And also our curriculum still, they focus on learning to get a white-collar job. Now my question is, how do you change that mindset of our younger generations so that they can embrace the green economy and green jobs which are available, and a lot of vacancies are there for them? Number two, in the curriculum system, we don't see much emphasis put in the green economy or blue economy in the syllabus. As PASET, how do you collaborate with the ministries of education in Africa so that this issue of green and blue economy are also given emphasis in the curriculum and in the syllabus to come from the lower level, so that the younger generation, they can pick up the green economy and green jobs which are in existence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any of our panelists, feel free to respond. One of the questions is for reflection for all of us. Please.
Yeah, I think about the first question where we need to change the mindset, I think what has been happening is that if I take a good example for agriculture, all of us know that when we talk about agriculture, the picture that comes up is for this old person who has retired, maybe 65-year-old, in tattered shorts, using a hoe, and they're working very hard on a farm which cannot even give them maybe a sack per acre. So that's the image that majority of us have when we are talking about, for example, agriculture. But there are ways that as a center we've tried to do to change that particular mindset. Because when I talk to young people, they always see me maybe with this nice car, Range Rover or Toyota Prado, and they want to be like myself. But you tell them embrace agriculture, they'll tell you agriculture is for the old people who have retired. But these old people actually don't have the energy. So the biggest challenge we tell them then is like, if I'm working, for example, in agriculture, I want to drive a good car, then what do I need to do? Maybe focus on value addition in agriculture, whereby I can work with a group of farmers, let's say 20,000 farmers in dairy. They're able to rear their cattle, I'm able to offtake their milk, then I'm able to do value addition. I can sell pasteurized milk, I can sell cheese, I can sell yogurt, I can sell butter. That way I'm still in agriculture, I'm in farming, but I'm doing value addition. At the same time, I'm empowering the farmer, because then I'm able to pay them better returns, because now I'm doing value addition, I'm fetching premium prices for my product, and the same trickle effect goes back to the farmer. So that way we are able then to change the mindset so that people don't just look at agriculture, for example, as that dirty industry that I don't need to focus on. So what we've done is basically to start with young people in primary schools, where then we are working with them through what we call the 4K Club. For those who are in Kenya, is a club that then encourages young farmers, young children to do some practical work within agriculture. And then the ones in high school, we work with them and university among young farmers. So then we are able then now to empower them, try and change that mindset that agriculture is actually cool, to speak their language. Because you see now, if you're not speaking their language, you know, they like something must be cool. So, and it can actually generate income. So we change that mindset at a younger age through primary. So by the time they're transitioning to high school and college, they already know that actually I can focus, for example, on agriculture and I don't need to be employed, because it's a good source of livelihood. But rather than just saying I'll train, for example, I want to be an engineer employed by government, I work on roads. I can, yes, be an engineer, but I can do something else which also creates, creates value around that. Then I think on the one for the curriculum, my advice, and this is one of the things we've been working with universities for a very long time, is for them to collaborate with industry. Because you'll find that there's a lot of changes and they're rapidly changing. You'll find different skills are needed, but by the time a graduate comes off a university, maybe some of the things that they've been taught in the university are actually obsolete. So working in collaboration with industry, they're able to maybe send some of these students to industry, let them work there, they'll get to know what are the new trends, what are the new skills that are required, and by the time they come back to university, they actually inform the university in terms of how do we revise our curriculum so that they are relevant to industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Initially, when I talked about revising curriculum, you know, we have a duty to migrate from the traditional way we are preparing our curricula to respond to professional, white-collar oriented jobs. Today, irrespective of what you undertake, even when you are enrolling for law, we prepare you to understand that you can as well do something else. There is that interaction. I am happy my colleague just mentioned about it. Interaction between universities and industry. At the University of Rwanda, we make it mandatory that each discipline must establish and must implement that collaboration with industry, its respective industry. But we also have a duty each year. We have a national event where the university at large identifies key industry stakeholders, where we meet and they feedback on how they see our products. But also on each and every campus, our universities across the country and has several campuses, over 13 campuses. On each campus, we have an innovation center where we help our students to discover, to innovate, and we don't limit it to just the discipline that is offered on that campus. We even allow those who can come from other campuses to come and adventure, innovate, think of new projects. And we have realized that in most of our innovation centers, people who are having very good projects are not necessarily coming from that particular discipline. They may be doing something else. If I may give you like one student who is working on a wonderful project in music is a chemistry student. He's doing his chemistry as a program, but he's having a project in music, working on a very good project on that. Some students, I will give another example, and we use this example in on different campuses. A student graduated in international law, international relations. And by the way, this is unfortunate, but it turned out to be an opportunity. After graduation, he failed to get a job aligned to his discipline, international relations, and decided to go on YouTube and started learning some skills in agriculture. And later, he was informed by a friend that on the agriculture campus, they are offering some short trainings in that regard. In addition to what he acquired from YouTube, he went to that other college, that other campus, was trained, and now he's, I don't know how to say it, he can employ so many agriculture engineers out of the project he started in agriculture when his background is international relations. And so we've been using this to show to our students that irrespective of what you are studying, even when you are studying law, yes, we are interacting with the justice fraternity, but you can as well add on some other skills that would help you to add on your income and prosper in that line of green economy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are running out of time. Maybe I will give you 1 minute for reaction of this question.
I think my colleagues have actually responded to all this. It's about using technology. If you want the youth to be interested in agriculture, that mindset can easily be changed by infusing technology. For example, I know that we have now a number of young people going into agriculture because now they can provide services that are tech-driven, use of drones, use of digitalization systems. There are a new wave of Nigerians now who are making apps for giving information to farmers and so on. So the entire value chain of agriculture is now being changed. Of course, there will still be people who are involved in actual production, but like he said, when we promote use of technology in all these areas, you find that young people, the fact that they want to use drones, the fact that they want to use their mobile phones, but of course the services you have in agriculture can now be embedded in these phones, and you see them getting into this agribusiness and so on. So I think it's all about infusing technology and catching them young. And one of the ways we do this in my university is to do quite a number of outreach that we go to secondary schools. In fact, during long vacations, we mount programs like coding for young girls, young boys. So they spend their time learning how to do coding, and that now introduces them into tech. And you find that eventually they will get on with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for our panelists. Let's all agree that this topic is a topic that we cannot in 40 minutes conclude with profound discussions. And here, from what our panelists was just sharing, we can see a rich experience from these 4 countries. No, 3 countries, Kenya, Rwanda, and Nigeria. But there's a lot more in our countries within PASET initiatives. And I think I want to challenge you all to have more engagement within our universities through PASET. There's initiatives that are being carried out in Kenya that can also be implemented in our countries. Maybe we can think about one program of research mobilities, student mobilities, and so on. There's a challenge for our university also to adjust to this key topic. Starting from training of teachers to teach this type of subjects, our laboratories, and so many things that we need to also adjust. Let me thank you all for your attention and your engagement in this panel. It was an honor to me to moderate this session. And please, I ask you all to clap hands for our distinguished panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Madame Mamade. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up, at least for the second last session of today. I have, yes, as you take the photos, I can, I've been taking notes, I've been listening. And this is the conclusion I've come up with. And I think it is in line with the spirit, the narrative that has been here. I've also interacted with a few of you, and I have also shared my take of what has transpired here, at least for the past 2 days, and of course this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say this, and I can go on record. I have been amazed. I have appreciated. I have affirmed that this room, and indeed the rooms that we had other discussions and conversations around this topic or theme, has been a melting pot of great conversations. I also really appreciate, and I've met 1 or 2 of those that have benefited from the PASET Regional Scholarship and Innovation Fund. Because, ladies and gentlemen, these students and scientists that we're trying to nurture are developing skills, generating new knowledge, and will, if they have not, develop technologies in thematic areas of climate change, renewable energy, sustainable food systems, agribusiness, digital technologies, including big data and artificial intelligence. We can go on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, these sectors are really central to Africa's future green economy, which, of course, and you'll all agree with me, will require unique skills set to adapt to the changing demands of the future of work. Because after all is said and done, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking for new ways to grow our economies, create employment for our young and rapidly growing population, and generally improve the living standards of our citizens, our brothers and sisters from across Africa and beyond, while also reducing carbon emissions and conserving biodiversity. I am sure, ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me. That is how I have summarized the conversations that I have listened to, the presentations that I have watched, and I have asked that at least if some of those presentations can be shared with me, I'll very much appreciate. Couple of announcements just before now we go for break. As we all are aware, we need to convene here at 11:20 so that then we have the official closing ceremony, which will be presided over by our chief guest, who is very much around. For those going for the excursion, as I'd mentioned earlier, please proceed to the Kenya School of TVET, and the priority or preference has been accorded to the international guests. And you will be able to be assisted by Kennedy Keraro, who will guide you on how to proceed to Gate A parking or Gate 1 parking where the vehicles are. For the PASET Secretariat, at around 1:30 p.m., you shall be able to meet Joyce just outside here. Now, as I've mentioned, we want to start the official closing ceremony at 11:30. So even as you go check on your names at the Kenya School of TVET stand, please remember to also take your tea so that we are back here for the official closing of this wonderful, wonderful 3-day event. Thank you very much, and may you enjoy your tea, coffee, or whatever drink you prefer. Thank you. Let's meet back here at 11:30 for the official closing. Thank you.